Hello, everybody. We're here with Mike from Analog Man. I can't believe that this gentleman is taking the time to talk to us. But iconic pedal brand. I think at this point is the right way to say it. Anybody that you talk to certainly knows about Mike's stuff. So, Mike, thank you very much for taking the time and speaking with us. Speaking with
You're
me,
welcome.
anyway.
Thank you.
Kind of getting right into it. Is it possible for you to give us kind of an overview? How did Analog Man come to be, and how did you get to doing what you're doing now?
Well, I was a software engineer by trade, and I was working in Japan as a software engineer. But I had always played. I started playing keyboards and bass in college, and then some guitar in college. And I always liked messing around with electronics. I've always been a DIY guy. And when I was in Japan, I learned about American vintage guitars because I had a lot of free time. I'd walk around. The guitar shops back then were incredible. So first I started bringing guitars and exporting guitars to Japan, selling them on consignment, which was a great way to make a ridiculous amount of money because the dealers only took a small percentage that way, and they would sell things for 2 or 3 times more than they would in this country. But then when it started to get a little harder to find guitars when they caught on in this country, I started getting more into pedals, or I would stick a couple of pedals in with the guitars to pay for the shipping. And then I liked pedals, so I started buying and selling vintage pedals. So it was Analog Man Vintage Guitar Effects, started in around 93 or so. And then I started, making some clones of them, like the Astrotone, the Sam Ash Fuzz,
Yep.
and some other things. And just started doing the Tube Screamer mods when I was in Japan. I found the Tube Screamer chips in Akihabara. So I started doing the mods before there was a World Wide Web. There was Usenet. There was all guitar effects, and we would communicate that way. And I would doing mods, and then I started to started building the chorus pedal. That was our first pedal, which is kind of weird because it's a pretty difficult pedal to build right, but people wanted the Electro-Harmonix small clone because Nirvana was very big back then, as they still are, and there was no reissues. Our Electro-Harmonix hadn't started making reissues yet. And then it just kind of went from there, and after several years of doing it part-time, I quit my software job and started Analog Man full-time.
Awesome. And here you are, how many years later, and you're like I said earlier, iconic in that world. So.
Well, yeah, I've been started full time 20 years ago, and my timing and it was very good. Being a software engineer, I was able to make my own website using a text editor, which I still use for our old website, and got on there real early before Gibson or Fender had websites, and that was before the effects really took off as much as they did in the last several years, where they just started booming because of the pet evangelists on YouTube preaching. And when the things kind of slowed down in 2008 when the banks crashed our economy, but we didn't lose too much, and slowly built up and up and up. And then the last few years, it got better and better. And then during the COVID time, we just couldn't keep up. People sitting at home with nothing to do, so they had a little money. They bought pedals, and they killed us. But you make money while you can, and hopefully I can retire soon. I've had enough of this. It's too hard.
So I know COVID had a big impact on the guitar industry and in general. So how has that brought additional challenges to you guys, or how's that been?
Sure has. From at the beginning when it first hit, I pretty much closed the shop down. We didn't even really do shipping for a while, though my memory is hazy. But I would have guys come in, pick up pedals, bring them home, build them, bring them back to the shop. My guy would ship. I think he shipped maybe once a day or once a week or a couple times a week for a while. And then I slowly had one guy could work in the far room. He's kind of his own little office, and
Sure.
I would go to work a little more, and my office manager Amy would come in a little more, and slowly we kind of got used to it, where the people were building the pedals at home. Where actually some of them have been doing the majority of their work at home, like Brian in our mod department. He's been doing modifications at home pretty much for years and years. So it wasn't that much different. But other guys, we got a couple of new younger guys from New Haven who they actually have a shop down there, or kind of a workshop, which is really convenient. So they can do their work down there. They'll come up here. Even today, they're still doing the majority of their work at their workshop. They'll come to Analog Man, drill out the cases, pick up the orders, pick up the parts, go home, put them together, come back here, check them out, match them up with the order sheets, and we'll ship them out. The main problem we had, other than getting people to work, is the parts, and even we also sell other products like Electro-Harmonix, Dunlop, Korg, Ibanez, and for example, Ibanez, we can't get TS9 pedals for like several months. We just can't get them. They're not bringing them in. I don't know if it's a container shipping or supply issue or whatever. We finally got a case of TS808s in today, 12. I mean, we could have sold hundreds since the last time we got any in, but at least we have some. So we've been getting Maxon pedals directly from Maxon in Japan. They've been able to ship us them, so we've at least had some sort of a tube screamer to offer with our modifications for the last few months. But other things like Dunlop, like try to get a big fuzz face from Dunlop, and it's like can't get them. They can't build them fast enough, or they can't get the parts. And like, we need bottom plates for those. We've had fuzz face bottom plates on orders for months. They don't have any.
Wow.
I don't know. I guess they're using them for their own pedals, but those and like Electro-Harmonix pedals are hard to get. We love the Deluxe Memory Mans. We do a lot of mods on those, but we haven't been able to get those for months.
Wow.
They're on back order. They should be here soon, but Electro-Harmonix is having difficulties with a lot of their pedals because they use a digital chip that was made in a factory that actually burned down. I think that was even before the pandemic. I knew that they were going to have issues, so I started to stockpile some of their pedals. But all these things are tough. But you just got to keep going, do what you can do, and hope the customers can understand. So far they've been pretty understanding, but you get some people that you can't deal with them. They just can't take the truth. So you just do your best.
Yeah, it is. At that point, it is what it is, huh?
Exactly.
Now I know some of Analog Man. There's a lot of mods that you guys do and a lot of mods that you offer. And your website has a wealth of information on different mods and whatnot, which is really great for the consumer. I know some things lately are going more from through hole to surface mount, and that's creating some difficulty with mods as well. Is that having a big impact, or?
That's had a huge impact, specifically with Boss pedals. Roland had been manufacturing. Of course, they started manufacturing in their factory in Japan, but then they moved manufacturing to Taiwan, I believe, in the mid-'80s. And Taiwan is a pretty high-tech place. Sure. They can do a good job there. They made really good pedals, but then they decided that, I don't know what they decided, but they needed to make them cheaper or use the newer parts, so they redesigned. I'm trying to remember which ones were first. Maybe the DS1. Anyway, a bunch of their small compact pedals were designed as surface mount parts, and the production was moved to I can't remember, Indonesia or somewhere, and those surface mount versions we cannot modify or repair. And slowly they did the DS1, the SD1, GE7, which got huge during the pandemic because of Tom Vukovac, Uncle Larry.
Yep.
His show on YouTube got huge. My lead guitarist was a huge fan of his and didn't even know that, I had been working with Tom for years, that he had the King of Tones and stuff. And he said, "Oh, Mike, you got to check this guy out. He's fantastic." I said, "Yeah, he's fantastic." So, he started using the GE7 and telling people about it. And we couldn't mod him fast enough.
Sure.
We couldn't get him fast enough from Roland. And then Roland goes and sends us a case of them that we can no longer modify. So now if you want to get that mod, you got to find one, make sure it's the correct version. We have a picture on our website so you can tell the difference between the old and the new.
Sure.
And we're still doing a ton of those mods from people that are sending them in, but can't sell them new anymore, unfortunately.
And that brings up something that I wanted to ask about too. So I know with the GE7, now with those going, that's driven some of the prices up for the older GE7s.
Yeah, even the G7 from a few years ago, I can't buy them on eBay to modify and resell because they're going for too much.
Yeah.
Luckily, I can do that with DS1 pedals because I guess they just made so many billions of DS1s. I can still find a clean DS1 in the box.
Yep.
That looks really good for $50 shipped. So I try to keep those in stock.
Sure.
But it costs me more because I have to spend my time on eBay getting them. I have to get them in. I have to check them, open them up, and I'll get some bad ones. So we can't really give you much of a deal on those, but at least we can sell you those.
Yeah.
But like you said, GE7s, the price is ridiculous, and BE2s also, blues drivers.
Oh yeah.
We can't get a blues driver used; they're too expensive.
So that brings up, a lot of your pedals on the used market. The prices, I'm just speculating here, but the prices, in my opinion, are very, very high. For used pedals. What are your thoughts and feelings on that?
I can understand the King of Tone or some Sun Faces with some rare transistor options, but the newer pedals, the only reason to pay more is if you can't wait. But it only takes us, most pedals are about 2 weeks.
Sure.
Some pedals are maybe a month to build. You go on our website, order it, choose your options, and then we start building it. We don't have things ready to ship in stock. Sure. Everything is built to order. That's why some people say they have a custom shop, but ask them if they can do a different color. Ask them if they can do a different knob or something. It's not really a custom shop. Ours is a custom shop. Every pedal is made to your spec. If you want to have a picture of Bart Simpson drawn on the inside with some sort of a joke, we can do that.
I might ask you about that for my next one.
You do have an artist in house, which is nice.
Oh, that's really cool. You also, I know you're involved in some Telecaster pickups that you do from
Yes.
Traylon. Is that something you want to talk about at all?
Yeah, sure. Jim Weeder had been using that special pickup he designed for years and years in his 52 Tele for the neck, because the Fender necks are just kind of a little bit wimpy. So he'd been trying to get somebody to build them and sell them, but he decided, might as well just kind of do it ourselves, but have Lindy and his hands and his brain, work with Jim. So they went back and forth a whole bunch of times, getting the pickup dialed in, and they sold really well. Then we came out with the bridge pickup to kind of sound like the 52 bridge pickup in his Tele, which just sounds fantastic. And we've been doing those. We can sell them as sets. Lindy got really busy during COVID too, so there was a while where we were out of stock on pickups, but they're pretty much in stock now. And if you like a Telecaster, it still sounds like a Telecaster, just like a little more of a Telecaster. And just happened to have my 68 body, 69 neck, big T,
Awesome.
Original bridge, serial number that matches the neck and body, but all these came from different places. The control panel, so it's a parts tally, but it's all good Fender stuff, and it's not too heavy. I like it.
That's awesome. Beautiful guitar.
Thanks.
So
Refinished, of course.
what's that?
Refinished, of course. I wish it was original black.
Yeah, well, refin's a great way to get into them without having to, sell a kidney. So.
And the other reason I was able to get all this stuff cheap was that the body actually has a humbucker route in it. But
oh wow!
Once you put the pickguard on there, you can't tell.
Yeah.
So I don't care. It's a little lighter.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great way to get into something like that. So looking forward, I'm curious. What's next for Analog Man? What's on the horizon?
Just trying to keep it going. At this point, it's just so hard because it's just so hard to keep up with orders. But we get people asking for different things. Or, for example, I was never happy with our juicer being in that tall box like the Beano Boost, because it's a simple circuit, but we used a big circuit board from our bi-compressor in it. So finally, I guess within the last year, we came out with a smaller version of the juicer when I found out that we could make a special board for it and put it in a smaller box. Now we have a mini version of the juicer in one of those little Twinkie size cases. People seem to like the Twinkies, so we got that. And different, like Bad Bobs, we've got the smaller versions of the Bad Bobs, and they came out with a new, I forget what it's called, but 1590, I don't remember, but it's the size of like a pack of cough drops. It's a little smaller than MXR box. I really like that size.
Oh, wow.
So we're doing like the Bad Bob and a couple other pedals in that size.
Wonderful. So,
and of course, I do have other pedal designs that I've just been too busy to come out with, but maybe if we catch up a little bit, I can come out with some new products.
Awesome. I'm sure the way the internet is, people will go nuts for it. So.
I think so. But if I don't have enough builders to build them, then it's kind of hard to come up with a new product, because I can't have any more waiting lists. Right now, if we slow down a bit, I'll just have my guys. Okay, you don't have enough chorus pedals to build this week. Make some King of Tones. Here, build 4 King of Tones for me, so we keep those going. So,
sure.
I don't need to make new pedals, but I want to make new pedals because people want them, and it's fun, and gotta have something new.
Absolutely. The King of Tone, just for curiosity, what's the waiting list around at this point? Has that grown significantly with COVID?
Yeah, it did grow during COVID. More people got on the list. And we did slow down for a while, obviously without the guys being able to come to work much. But now we're back into full production on those. We've got Barbara Sweet from Bob Sweet Sound's wife down in Florida. She's making circuit boards for us for the King of Tone.
Awesome.
We were selling her Mojo Vibes and Ultra Vibes, but she finally gave up because it's just so hard to build those pedals, to find the parts. So at least we're keeping her doing something now. And we've got other guys building King of Tone boards, got other guys building chorus boards for us, compressor boards, bringing them all to the shop, and then my guys will build up the pedals from those boards.
Awesome.
But yeah, King of Tones are, you can just Google King of Tone list and it'll tell you exactly what day we're shipping to, but I believe it's over 3 years now. Wonderful. It's kind of going up and down little by little, but we're doing our best.
Hey, it's a great pedal. It's worth a wait, I guess. So. All right, so speed round. This is kind of the fun recap at the end of the interview for everybody. So, question 1: classic Strat or Telecaster?
Telecaster for me, definitely. I've never quite figured out the Strat.
It's one or the other. Deluxe reverb or Tweed Deluxe?
That's a tough one. It's a little bit apples and oranges, but for me, I could probably get away with the Tweed Deluxe because I wouldn't have to crank it up too much, so I could keep it semi-clean and use the pedals. But probably a black face for me, because I want to get most of my dirt from the pedals, and I want to be able to get a pristine clean. So I probably couldn't really use a Tweed Deluxe unless it was quite low volume.
Gotcha. Here's a new question. So, a Klon or a clone?
I've got 2 gold Klons with the Horsey Man on them, and I wouldn't pay somebody to build a copy of his circuit, so definitely the original.
There you go. Analog Man makes a ton of fuzz pedals, right? There's a ton of options on there. Do you prefer germanium-based fuzz or a silicon-based fuzz?
I prefer the germanium. I like the cleanup. I like the fatness. There's some temperature sensitivity, but I can deal with that, or use an RCA or a hybrid. Yep. But I like the germaniums myself.
Awesome. Would you pick a D18 or a J45?
I would have to say that the Gibson acoustic, the necks on them are much nicer for me. You know, being a Les Paul player, you know, the Gibson acoustic guitars are a lot easier for me to play. Martins, they sound pretty good and stuff, but I'm not really a big fan of them. I really need to get a nice J45. I need to get a good Gibson acoustic.
Yeah, they are nice. Are you a coffee man or a tea man?
Tea. Coffee's too strong for me.
You gotta pick one, humbucker or P90.
I'd have to say humbucker, but boy, P90s are fantastic. I've got a 58 Junior double cut, and every time I play it, it's like, why don't I play this guitar more? The P90s are just fantastic. But you know, being a Zeppelin head, you know, I got to go for the humbuckers.
There you go. AC30 or a blues breaker?
That's a good question. I have an AC15, which I use occasionally, but just a new one. I don't have a blues breaker, but I'm pretty familiar with those. I would probably say the blues breaker. You really can't beat a Marshall amp. It can still get pretty clean, and it loves all the pedals. But if I had some time to spend with an AC30, I might change my mind. But I've never really had a good one.
Gotcha. Flying V or Explorer?
I would say this one.
There you go. Flying V.
Definitely the V.
Beautiful. Wrapping it up, just a few left. Tube Screamer or the other blues breaker?
Well, I guess being the King of Tone being based on the Marshall Blues Breaker, I would have to say the Blues Breaker.
There you go. I think I know the answer based on the background, but would you go Les Paul or 335?
That has to be Les Paul, although I do need a 335. It's the one guitar that I don't, well, other than the J45, but yeah, a 335 is a really nice guitar, and I'd like to get one of those.
Yeah, everyone needs a 335 in my opinion. And then the final one, Mike, are you a boots guy or a sneakers guy?
Definitely sneakers.
There you go. So that was all we had, Mike. Thanks again to Mike from Analog Man for taking the time to talk to us. Absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for your time. You're an icon. So.
You're welcome. Thanks so much.
All right. So I think for the interview portion, we're all set now.